Hello everyone! Thank you so much for helping me reach 800 subs. It really means a lot to me, and since you try to keep the support coming, I will try to keep the interesting content coming. So I decided to do an 800 sub special episode of Can You Beat Cheater 3 AI without losing a unit with every race. Let me show you the rules really quick. The rules are: Number 1. There must be no casualties. Number 2. The bot's difficulty must be Cheater 3 AI with 100% handicap. And number 3, the bot's build and race must be completely random. With that in mind, thank you so much for the subs again. Let's dive into the games. Game 1. When playing against a Cheater AI 1, 2 or 3, you must always have one thing in mind. Whatever you do, however you do it, in the first 5 to 7 minutes, the bot will always be ahead of you. In this case, the Cheater 3 bot starts with a bonus income and the vision of the whole map the whole game. There are only two weaknesses that a player can abuse against a bot. The first one is, an AI always moves around in a big ball of army. With that said, you can always harass their mineral line or another base. The second thing is, if you attack an AI on a choke point, its army won't retreat, if they have the upper hand that is. So the only way I could beat someone like that is by using positioning to my advantage. I go for a 12 bull all-in with a couple of drones. Just because the AI has vision of the whole map, when I arrive it pulls most of his drones to fend off my attack. But by the time he comes out, I've killed more than enough drones to put him economically behind. At this point, there really isn't no reason to fight him. I just pull my army back, stalling him while he's not mining, and we take the win. Game 2. As a Terran, my most powerful starting unit is a Reaper. It's fast, it outranges almost everything, and most importantly, it heals itself. I choose a standard 2 racks proxy build, which isn't really a no-win, but in my case it is, because I can't really lose a unit. My first game is against a Protoss. As you can see, by the time my 2 Reapers arrive, the AI has 2 Zealots. This means that it has 2 gateways and a cybernetics core, which means that he will also make a Stalker or an Adept soon. Being that much behind leaves me with only one choice: to out-micro him. Fortunately for me, he goes for an Adept. Reapers outrange Adepts, so it all comes down to my micromanaging skills. I got the second Zealot and I got the Adept, but another Adept came up and it did so much damage that I had to stay outside of its base. And that actually is how I lost the game. On my second retry, I went for the same build and unfortunately for me, I play against a Protoss again. But wait, if the AI pulled probes, that means it's playing another build. When I get in its base, there are 2 Zealots again, but this time, by the time an Adept arrives, I have 3 Reapers, so I have the upper hand now. When the second Adept arrives, I have no choice but to leave the base again. I have to find a way to get back in, and when I do, I kite the Adept as much as I can. At that moment, there are 4 gates making units and a Stalker. I have to find a way to kill it. So what I do is surround it with Reaper mines, and because it's computer programming, it can't let itself be caught in it and it dies. At this point I have so much firepower that a simple 1 unit attacks do nothing to me. I patiently continue to pick off units in warp, and when the gateways are on cooldown, I pick off the pylons as well. When everything is powered down, I pick off the probes and I accept its surrender. Game 3. As a Protoss, I have the most powerful units of all races, so whatever unit composition I do, if I micro it correctly, I should be able to win almost every fight. And I play against a Protoss. It's a mirror match against an AI that has an advantage over me. It doesn't matter. I was going for 2 gate cybernetics build anyway, which for those who don't know is a standard opening in a Protoss vs Protoss match. Being behind on minerals, I put a proxy pylon just before my second gateway finishes, and being the cheater AI that this is, it pulled probes in order to prevent it. Whatever happens, there is no turning back now. I chrono boost my stalkers and I surround the pylon with more pylons, which means I need to keep it alive. My goal here is to put batteries and win fights that otherwise would be lost. By the time my Stalkers arrive, I have a battery. I put a gateway thinking that I'm about to win, but no, another Stalker and a Zealot arrive. I have to turn this around somehow, so I focus fire down the Stalker and I continue building pylons and batteries. With a battery fully functional and another ally Stalker on the battlefield, I can take fights more confidently. By the time my 4th Stalker arrives, the game is already won. It takes only a Zealot and a few more probes and the AI surrendered.